Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into the absolutely incredible story of Dubai's rise from a small, quiet pearling village into one of the most futuristic and ambitious cities on the entire planet. Truly, a metropolis of the future. So let's kick things off with a quote that really sets the stage. Back in 2016, a US presidential candidate actually held up Dubai as the gold standard for success. It just goes to show you how the very idea of Dubai has become this global symbol of wealth, ambition, and just massive mind-bending development. But, to really understand the Dubai we see today, with all its crazy skyscrapers and man-made islands, we have to rewind the clock. We've got to go way back to its very humble beginnings.
So, if you went back to the 19th century, Dubai was really not much more than a small fishing village right on the Arabian Gulf. Yeah, it was a strategic spot on the British trade route to India, but it was still a tiny, local community, and life was all about fishing and pearling.
And get this, the population was only about 1,000 people. That's it. Life literally revolved around the sea, catching fish for food and diving for pearls to make a living. It was a completely different universe from the global powerhouse we know today. But then, the city's entire path started to change, all thanks to the vision of one man, Sheikh Rashid bin Zayed Al Maktoum. He imagined a future for Dubai that was just radically different from what it was.
Sometimes a single experience can change everything. For Sheikh Rashid, that moment was a trip to Europe in 1959. He saw these modern skyscrapers, incredible infrastructure, bustling ports, and he came home with a brand new and pretty radical vision for his kingdom.
And this right here, this captures the huge shift in his thinking. He had this realization that the future wasn't going to be one with swords on a battlefield. It was going to be one with cargo ships in a port. The new wars, the new global conflicts, were going to be economic. And he was determined that Dubai was going to be a major player.
So what did he do? He made a massive bet, an absolutely enormous gamble. He poured his entire fortune into dredging the Dubai Creek to make it deep enough for huge cargo ships to finally dock there. He had one single focused goal: turn Dubai into the essential trading link between Asia, Africa, and Europe.
And just as this incredibly ambitious, super risky port project was getting started, something happened that was basically like pouring rocket fuel on Sheikh Rashid's dream.
Yep, black gold, oil. The discovery in 1966 was a massive, massive turning point. It provided the capital, the actual cash, that they desperately needed to fund all those enormous infrastructure projects. The roads, the airports, the ports, the whole backbone of the new Dubai. At pretty much the same time, something really important was happening politically. In 1971, the 7 separate kingdoms there in the region all agreed to unite and form the United Arab Emirates, what we know as the UAE. This union was absolutely crucial. It allowed them to coordinate all this development and establish the UAE as a stable and powerful new country on the world stage.
Okay, but this is probably the most important thing to understand about Dubai's story. Even with all this sudden oil money, the leaders knew it wasn't going to last forever. Right from the very beginning, they were planning for a future beyond oil.
And that brings us to a really common misconception. When people see the unbelievable wealth of Dubai, they almost always assume, oh, it's all built on oil. But is that really true?
Well, take a look at this. The answer is not even close. It's actually pretty surprising. Oil only accounts for about 5% of Dubai's economy today. The vast majority? It's driven by trade, business, and tourism, the very things Sheikh Rashid had envisioned all those decades ago. Their strategy to diversify worked big time.
And they built these new pillars with just incredible focus. They built the Jubilee port, which became the largest man-made harbor on Earth. They launched Emirates, which is now one of the world's biggest airlines. And they created dozens of these tax-free zones that attracted the headquarters of global giants like Microsoft and Google.
Now, to really put themselves on the global map, especially for tourism, Dubai started a series of just breathtaking construction projects. These weren't just buildings, they were global advertisements. It all started with landmarks like the Burj Al Arab, which they marketed as the world's very first 7-star hotel.
Then they started doing things that just seemed to defy possibility, like the Palm Jumeirah. It's this massive man-made island built from millions and millions of tons of sand and rock they pulled up from the sea. And get this, the original source material says Sheikh Rashid himself sketched out the first design for this incredible feat of engineering.
And of course, the big one, the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building on the planet. These architectural marvels, they weren't just record breakers, they were statements.
They were powerful symbols of a new, modern, and fiercely ambitious Middle East.
So, did it all work? Oh yeah, the world definitely noticed. The city's success, its safety, all the opportunities have turned it into a magnet for people from all over the globe. I mean, look at these numbers. Out of 3.5 million residents, a staggering 3.2 million are from other countries.
The results are just undeniable. The city gets 80 million visitors a year, holds over 300 world records, and it's even been called the safest place on Earth. It is an absolute powerhouse of business and innovation.
Think about it. In just a couple of decades, Dubai has written one of the most astonishing development stories in modern history. From a tiny fishing village to a futuristic metropolis, it's just a powerful lesson in what audacious vision can achieve. And it really leaves you wondering, if this is what Dubai looks like today, what in the world is it going to look like in 2050?